Good morning, guys. I hope y'all having an awesome day. I'm going to show y'all how to make this maxi dress. Is in the making. And I want to speak to you guys in a simpler way. And I know it's a whole lot of videos on YouTube. And before I learned how to sew, looking at that, they do everything by the book. And they do measurements and lines and drawing and drafting. They do it that way. For somebody just learning how to sew, it'd be like, oh my God, what is all that? So this piece right here is a basic bodice for the top of a shirt. If you want to make it a dress, you have to extend it, put in the hip curves, and different things like that. This is my measurement. So anytime I get ready to make any kind of shirt, I will always grab this piece. And it's with my measurements. So you'll do your measurements like this, guys. You're going to go around the top part of your breast. And then I would say take a shirt, fold it, and trace it out so you can get that shape. And then you're just going to put these measurements in it. So you go around the top part of your bust and you bring it all the way around. And you bring it all the way around. And then you look at whatever that number is. Boom. That's how you come up with your chest measurements. Then you take it around your waist. And whatever that number is, that's your waist measurements. So you're going to take this tape measure. And if mine came up at 39 inches, right? Put it on the 39. Take it and you're going to divide this by 4, okay? You're going to divide it by 4. So when you divide it by 4, that comes up to 9.5 inches, okay? So when you take this bodice piece that you taped out, you see that? 9.5 inches. This piece will come off too. Under the armhole where your chest go, okay? So it'll be 9.5 inches. And when you're using spandex fabric, always put a 1-inch seam allowance. So don't cut it the same length of this. Add 1-inch seam allowance on it because you don't want your stuff so tight you can't get in it. When you're dealing with non-scratch fabric, you follow the measurement but cut it a little bit bigger because you have no wiggle room. At least with spandex, you have a right to left stretch. And I know I'm not saying that right. So get a shirt that you guys already own. Fold the shirt up. Tuck the sleeves out of the way. And you'll wind up getting this shape. And whenever you get ready to make a top, you always going to grab this for your bodice. So if you guys see, I put little lines on here. So when I'm going to make this shirt right here, you see this? All I'm doing with this piece, see that? I fold it over. That's how I get that triangle piece. That's it. See, I got that. You just fold that over, starting from the point of the neck to right here. And you fold it over. That's how you get the shirt to do that. Okay? And we'll talk about the princess seam and the sweetheart at a later date. But anytime you making a top, that will be your true bodice. Keep that piece. And then when you're making it for other people, remember I showed you to take this, take measurement, divide it by 4. And whatever the person thing is, you divide it by 4. And you will add to this to make it bigger. If they smaller, you will decrease to make it their size. So this will be your basic bodice piece. And then I do it for front and for back. So this will be for the back, but then I maneuver it to do it for the front. Okay? So whenever you're getting ready to make something, so with this skirt, my waist, you take your waist, right? Now I'm going to take this loose and show y'all what I do. This is a non-scratch fabric, this piece right here. So I'm going to make this dress with a split. So hold on, guys. And I'm hoping that this helped because a lot of the videos I see them and I'm like, oh, if somebody just learning how to sew, that would be horrible for them. So you see I took this and I already did the hem on it and I added this spandex because I know a lot of y'all probably don't know how to do the stitch where you gather the fabric. So I just get this spandex and you're going to need a stretch needle, guys, a stretch needle to do when you're dealing with spandex. And then you put your machine on a zigzag stitch when you're sewing this kind of stuff. So when you put it on there, you taking the elastic, put a little over, and as you sewing it, you pulling at the same time. So remember I took my measurements. So you take your measurement and then I made this bigger because I wanted to gather. I didn't make this just my waist. You see how wider I make? So you can make this piece, guys, bigger. Take the fabric and make it bigger, but you take the elastic and make it your waist size and stretch it, okay? And that's how you get this gather piece. So this is way bigger than my 30-inch waist, or now my waist is 26-inch waist. I made it way bigger, but then I just used this elastic to make it go like that, okay? So then when I make this, I did the hem and everything on it. I attached this piece. So I want this maxi to have a split. So my maxi is going to go around just like this. Boom. I want to split. So I'm going to sew it to probably about right there, okay? Probably about right there. All right? So this is that piece for that. So now you guys know how to do that. And then the sleeves. The sleeves. When you're making the sleeves, let me turn it around. So when I make a sleeve, I take this piece just like this, guys. I take my fabric. Put it on the fold. And I think I showed y'all in one video before. And I trace it out. I'm going to turn the camera around. I know y'all can't see. Let me turn the camera around. And I trace out. See this? From here to here, I trace out. And then I made this part a little wider. I'm going to turn the camera back around. Because at the bottom of the sleeve, I want this little cuff. So my sleeves will have this little cuff. And remember, this is not a scratchy fabric. So when you first start sewing, and that people say spandex is harder to sew with, I think that'd be better because it's forgiving. It's harder to sew on fabric with no spandex. Because if you see with this dress, I got to put breast darts and all that stuff in it. But if you use spandex, you can have to do darts and all that type of stuff, okay? So that's why I'm telling y'all to get a spandex fabric. When I first started sewing, spandex, and still now I prefer to use spandex, especially when I'm fitting a customer and I get it always somewhere it's not fitting. So I prefer spandex. So just call me the spandex lady, okay? I wouldn't want to make a dress like this non-spandex because sometimes your customers don't know how to do the right measurements, and when you do it, it's wrong. And sometimes that fabric can be expensive, and if it's cut, then they want you to cut the cost because they feel, oh, you messed up. No, but you write down the measurements, and some people don't know how to measure right. So still really go off the measurements, but use the spandex. So when I make this sleeve, this is a little arm cuff that goes at the bottom, okay? So this is how I got pins in here, guys. This is how I get this little arm cuff, and then this part of the shirt, I just take it and then I shove it down. So that's how I wind up getting this. And if you want it to be more dramatic, make it bigger, cut it bigger. Mine is not that dramatic. But if you want yours to be more dramatic, don't extend this part, but make this bigger. And then this, you can use this to make it your waist length, and you just gather it going around, okay? So I'm hoping that this is helping my people that's just learning how to sew, because I was looking at YouTube and I'm like, Lord, that is really complicated. You know, looking at all them measurements and stuff, and then you don't know really how to take measurements. You're not that good. So they call it cloning your own clothes. Please look at Misha TV. Please, when I was learning to sew, I learned a lot from Misha. Rest in peace, Misha. I learned so much, and then I went to school because I was so deeply into it. Then I went to Penn Foster and took up dressmaking and pattern design. So I got my diploma in dressmaking and pattern design. But you can always still learn. There's a lot of great techniques on YouTube, but I would say this is be more for a beginner. If you really don't know, you really don't want to get off into all that. But yeah, but that would be your basic bodice piece. And like I say, you'll get a shirt you got. Trace out the shapes, but follow the measurements. Remember, by your breast, by your waist, that's going to be your measurements on a basic bodice. And then when I'm saying in 4, this is when you cut, you cutting 2. So when I said you take that measurement divided by 4, that's why it wind up being 4 pieces. But when you cut it on the fold and open it up, it's 2 pieces. My back piece is cut on the fold. So if you see, this is the back piece, the same pattern, but it's 1 piece. When I say cut on the fold, this is cut. This is not cut on the fold. So it gave me 2 pieces. So you want it on a fold, you put it, and when you open it up, you will have 1 piece. And when your fabric is not cut on the fold, Well, that's the shoulder. That ain't even this. That's a sleeve. When your fabric is not cut on a fold, it is different. So I hope that helped you guys. Because when I saw a lot of that, I said, "Ooh, for somebody just trying to learn how to sew, that'll make them really, really fearful." So I hope that helped you guys a lot. And this is real or beginner friendly. So please pick up you a tape measure from, if you guys are not getting out, Amazon, and get you some stretch needles, because if you're going to be doing spandex and lycra and you're going to be doing them zigzag stitches, because you don't want when the fabric to scratch, it pops. And I know I don't talk right, but remember guys, when you're sewing spandex fabric, let's say it's a 4-way stretch, you want your fabric to scratch and feel for the stretch before you start cutting. You want it to scratch right to left. You don't want it to go up and down. You want it to go, because your body go right to left. So if you do the measurements right from your shoulder to your waist and all that, you'll have that right. But you want your fabric to go right to left. So you have your grain-wise, lengthwise, your crosswise, and your true bias. So, well, we'll get into that in another video. So, yeah, so the lengthwise, your crosswise, and then the true bodice of the fabric. So we'll talk about that another time, because y'all probably like what she's talking about. But just follow this shape. This will be your key to making anything. When you're making tops and stuff, and when you're making a skirt, we'll talk about that at a later date. Hope that helps. Bye, guys.